What's up guys, welcome back. OCG Metagame breakdown for early February, end of January 2018. So roughly 1 month into the new OCG format, and again like always, a breakdown right from the OCG Metagame. All the links will be in the video description for more information. Feel free to check those out. Again, Road of the King as always, ready for duel, etc. But again, let's take at least this particular video will be like in 2 parts. Part 1 of course for the OCG Metagame breakdown, and part 2 is something that I haven't really done before, but due to our most recent TCG banlist, and it's also like a topic on the Reddit, on Reddit of course, is OCG players talking about the current, at least our new TCG banlist, and giving their opinions about this. The reason why this is interesting is, again, since we are talking about, at least I'm talking about, and other people as well, talking about the OCG list, and like the weekly metagame breakdown is now, looking at from another point of view, right? The OCG players talking about our TCG list. But I'll come back to that in a couple of moments. First of all, the OCG Metagame breakdown. Again, end of January 2018, about 60 top performing decks were used from about 8 tournaments. And as we saw last week in the breakdown, there isn't really, at least first of all, there's like a lot of diversity again, and that's probably also going to be the case for us TCG players. But there isn't really like a deck that's like huge or, on top on the current OCG metagame. Well, Pendulum Magicians, it's like a little bit debatable, right? Pendulum Magicians are somewhat stronger, a little bit stronger compared to the other lists, sitting at about 28%, but again quickly followed by Trickstars, Altergeist, I'll come back to that in a couple of moments, Plants, Zephyrus, Burning Abyss, and about 20% others. So again, not really too many big differences compared to last week. First of all, the Magician build used here went, I believe, 7th to 2nd place with, I believe, about 100 participants. And the biggest difference now, due to Designator from the Grave, I believe the card is now called Called by the Grave, I believe, Designator from the Grave, quick play spell from Flood. And the biggest difference now from this particular Pendulum list is that people are starting to main deck Extra Veiler, as you see here in the extra deck. Is like one of the, well, it's because, people are playing or main decking, especially Plants are main decking Called by the Grave, since, like Plants, hand traps are super strong against that particular deck. Is Extra Veiler, does help against, first of all, Plants, but is maybe a little bit too limited against, like, the Phoenix, Cluster Amaryllis, FTK, right? And on top of that, Extra Veiler special summon itself from the hand, so you have like an extra monster on the field to, when it's like your own turn, go for, or at least give you an extra monster on board to go for the possible link summon. So people side decking the Extra Veiler against something like Plants, that's something nice, since it also bypasses the Called by the Grave, right? Pendulum Magicians, again, Red Reboot, Infinite Transcience, the power creeped effect failure, also in the side deck. Trickstars, on the other hand, this particular build went 6 and 1, 2nd place, I believe, 54 participants. As mentioned here on Road of the King, is that this build with Invoked, for example, is a little bit more of a niche build, with Trickster Lilybell, for example, giving you the extra monster on the field to go for the Link Alistair, the Meltdown Invoker, opening up 2 extra monster zones and possibly deal a lot of damage with 2 fusion summons after that. But again, as mentioned on Road of the King, is that the regular Invoked, well, the Mono Trickster build with Scapegoat is still the much more preferred, the preferred build, established build compared to this particular build. Side decking Infinite Transcience, the Kaijus as well, it has been a long time, but a couple of Troy Mares as well. Yeah, Troy Mares, super generic. Here, upcoming force in the OCG, Altergeist, Altergeist got new support in Flames of Destruction, Altergeist Multi-Faker, for example. Here, this particular Altergeist build, or at least Altergeist list on the first day, on Saturday, went 8 and 1 in a particular tournament of about 96 participants, so that's quite high. On Sunday, on day 2, this particular list slash player went 6, 1 and 2, and eventually ended up first first place in a tournament of about 40 teams and 120 participants. So again, quite good. So Altergeist going strong here with, you know, this new support. Then again, Altergeist, as you see here, are running a lot of trap cards and going, well, as an Altergeist player, you know, with those many trap cards, you probably want to go first. Then again, you know, this particular deck is running a lot of hand traps, so going second isn't really that big of a problem. And also the Infinite Transcience at 3 in the main deck definitely helps if you're going second. On top of that, you know, the deck, you know, has access to Altergeist still, I'm not going to butcher that name, but you know, the card that bounces like cards from your opponent, so bouncing back an Electromite or Crystal Needle Fiber can, you know, put your opponent far behind. Then again, the biggest problem of Altergeist is, again, it's running a lot of trap cards, and you know, as you saw in like a lot of builds, people are definitely side decking multiple red reboots. And again, if your deck is like, you know, heavily based on OTKing, vomiting your whole hand to the field, like Pendulums for example, you can definitely side deck, or Plants, you can definitely side deck multiple red reboots, and red reboot is like a hard counter to Altergeist. And I believe, yep, indeed, Road of the King also has like an article, a separate article of a couple of cards combinations of Altergeist, Multi-Faker and Protocol. You know, possible fields you can pump out, quite interesting. I haven't reviewed Altergeist yet, but I should get into that particular deck. Quite interesting again. As for the side deck, yeah, Grinder Golem being side decked, okay, must be nice. Plants, on the other hand, not really, yeah, I don't think anything too spectacular. A lot of engines, right? Pediment, Armageddonite, Destrudo, Maxis at 3, right? Designator from the grave as well, prevent your opponent from using the hand traps. Side decking into red reboot, just in case if you're going second with plants, but it's like a pretty straightforward deck, right? Just vomit your whole hand to the field, link summoning, link spamming, the Chormares as well, possibly go for the Amaryllis FTK. If not, you can just, again, set up the Chormare link shenanigans if possible. Zephyrus, also a strong force in first of all, the OCG, you know, with Danglong first of all, but in the TCG as well, you know, with our most recent TCG list, Zephyrus can definitely be a strong force, again, because it's like a very strong, powerful Pendulum engine. It's also being, at least this particular Zephyrus list, again, running Psyframe, Gear Gamma. This is, again, it's something to play around Designator from the grave. And I believe Road of the King also has like the Zephra Mary or Mare, however you want to pronounce it, combo, but again, that combo involves Danglong, if I'm not mistaken, quite important again. And as a conclusion, again, yeah, Pendulum Magicians quite strong, definitely an increase compared to previous weeks, as you see. But Red Reboot, quite an important card against Altergeist, but it's quite interesting that Altergeist again are gaining ground in the OCG. Something different now, again. Something different, and I will leave a link to that particular like thread on the subreddit, or it's on Reddit, in the comments, or at least in the video description, so again, feel free to leave it down below. But originally, that's at least these particular opinions from the OCG players about, at least on our current new TCG ban list starting February 5th, 2018. It was quite interesting, but you know, the original website is in Japanese, and I can't read that, and a lot of people. But props to Darkness Savior here on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Subreddit for, you know, translating a couple of comments, random comments. But again, I'll leave the original link in the video description, so feel free to check it out if you can, like, read Japanese. But other than just using Google Translate, will, you know, just say, like, strange things. But a couple of these comments caught my attention. The reason why they are so interesting is that you can definitely see how the OCG players are thinking about our current, like, TCG list and TCG like play style as well, and you know, card releases also, and like rarity upgrades, for example. So let's take a look. Like a couple of like things, comments caught my attention is first of all, here, I'm astonished that they went as far and got rid of a double Iris Magician. You know, Pendulum Magicians got a huge hit on our most recent TCG ban list, and as well, I think we can't really be surprised. Well, then again, we didn't really expect expect that they would hit cards like Double Iris Magician. Another comment here, they sure go, at least they sure do go all out for their ban lists, don't they? And well, if I see the most recent OCG list, is that, you know, the OCG has like a lot of big lists, right, going ham on a couple of archetypes, so I'm not really sure if this holds up for us TCG players as well. Another thing here, and that's definitely one of the biggest differences between our current TCG list and OCG, is Maxi. They banned Maxi over there. Well, I guess Japan and overseas will be dealing with problems differently from now on. So also their mindset about Maxi is also quite different. Here another comment, is it really necessary to ban Maxi? So here is like, and it's also a heavily debated topic for us TCG players, is should Maxi be at 0 or Maxi be at 3? And you know, at least in the OCG, Maxi is at 3. So again, like a heavily debate, at least a big debate, right, between both TCG and OCG players. Another comment, Magicians are basically done for overseas. I'm not really sure about this. Okay, Magicians got a huge hit, but again, from seeing a couple of top lists from past weekend of tournaments already playing into the new TCG format, we saw Magicians are doing quite well, so I'm not really sure about this particular comment. Another one, so they're basically making it so that you can't make any tokens. Well, I can definitely agree, right? Banning Gofu, definitely, well, that's definitely a good option, right? But Scapegoat is still at 3, so... But, you know, using links, or at least using tokens for links, again, like a big debate. Another one here, they are too strict with generic cards overseas. Super Polymerization, Judgment, Card Destruction, Pot of Avarice, Excite Night, Chicken, Race, / Game, Kaiser Colosseum, and so on. You know, all these cards are still legal in the OCG, so also like a big difference compared to us TCG ban list and players. Another one here, next year we can use Monster Reborn at Worlds for the first time in forever. Well, that's true, you know, the World's ban list is a combination between both current TCG and OCG list. Another one, wow, English speakers really don't know what they are doing, do they? Well, must be nice. What can I say about that, right? Well, also here, yeah, that will be the last one. If they banned Ash Blossom with her being out for less than a year, there'd be people suing Konami over it. Well, don't get me started about, you know, a couple of cards from the top of my head, Pendulums and Pepe, for example, that immediately got the X here for us TCG players, preemptively hitting cards like Dandelion, for example, you know, combating the planned FTK shenanigans and more token shenanigans. Well, we get that right. But again, I will leave the full link in the video description. Definitely interesting to see their comments, right, their opinions about our current list. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.